How's it going, everybody? It is your favorite apostates. I'm McKay.
And I'm Jordan.
And we are back again, and you may notice there are a few things different. Pause the video and see if you can spot them all and leave it in the comments. Okay, now that you've done that, or not, I don't care. We did get new audio equipment. Thank you, every single one of you who has viewed our videos, joined our Patreon, given us a little donation or whatever. You're all amazing, and we're so grateful for you, and you were the ones who made this happen. Somebody joined Patreon today, and they were like, oh, I'm so glad that I can finally be able to support you. And like, being on our Patreon is great, but that is not the only thing that you can do to support us. You can, just participating supports us. It's awesome. With that being said, give me a little leeway. This is the first run that we've done with the microphones because we haven't had time to really play with them. So if it sucks, I'm sorry in advance. This will be the baseline that I can do some messing around with. So hopefully as things go, it's also not a very good dry run because it's windy as shit outside for one. And we're dumb enough to have a wind chime right below our window for the back door. So hopefully you don't hear that clanging around the entire duration of this video. Or if you do, hopefully you can tune it out. I'm sorry. Okay, would you like to kick us off with the adoption?
What do we need to talk about? Is there anything else we need to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay. Also, my shirt is very cute.
Oh, you didn't get to show it off last video. Let me
I wear
move
it
your mic real quick.
and then forget to show it off. It says women don't owe you shit.
There you go.
So, it's fitting. We, as requested, have returned to our Mormon influencer series. And this was our second top requested video. Was these folks right here.
It's another revisit.
In the past, we have done one video on Not Enough Nelsons, and we will get back to that in a moment. But if you have not seen that video, it's a really old video. It's back when we really first started.
Yeah. At least 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Check it out.
So that video will kind of give you some nice context for this video. So if you'd like to watch that first, McKay will put it here.
We will be referring to it in the future. So if you haven't seen that, go take a
watch
look at it.
So here's what we're going to do today. I feel like when we do these videos, especially when we do them about beloved creators on YouTube,
yes,
everybody gets their garmies in a bunch based on the things we say. So we are going to make clear some things from the very beginning of the video. Okay? Are you with me? Okay.
We're following.
Okay. So this channel that we are talking about in particular has minor children on their channel. That is their choice to publicize their lives on their channel, on their social media. That is these parents' choice. What the internet does with that content, once you put it out there, is no longer up to you.
It's the name of the game.
It's the name of the game. When you put that shit on the internet for everybody to see, you open yourself up for criticism for everybody to see. We do this shit every week and we get shit on every week. It's the name of the game. So we'll return to that more in a moment. For the sake of this video, we will be blurring out any minors involved in any of the videos. We will only be watching a short clip of one, I think.
Yeah.
Right? So it's really not extensive and it's really not necessary, but we will be blurring out the minors. But here's the problem. We can be as vague as humanly possible about these people and their channel and their children. And it's not going to matter because you can hop on over to Not Enough Nelsons and they'll give you the whole fucking rundown of every single inappropriate thing about every individual child from birth to now. You want all the details, you can go on over and get it. And that's the problem. While we will be vague and protect these children's privacy on our channel when appropriate.
Yes. This is the internet, and the internet is forever. And once you put it out there, everybody knows things.
It's out there. So the second thing that we want to make very clear is all the Mormons, because there's a lot of Mormons who follow Not Enough Nelsons, right? They're big time Mormons. So all the Mormies are going to come over here and get their garmies in a bunch, and they're going to be like, oh my God, you guys just shit on women, all the time. You just shit on Mormons. You hate the natural woman and her role. And, I could go on for like 8 freaking years. Okay. Is there anything you wanted to add to my tangent there?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head a couple times.
So that's what happens. And if you're new to our channel, obviously at this point you've probably figured out that we are ex-Mormons. However,
we said that at the beginning, so
contrary
here's your second notice.
Are you paying attention? Contrary to what many would believe, we are not anti-Mormon. Okay, now that is subjective based on the human, and you might disagree with that statement, and that's fine, but that is not our intention with this channel. Our intention with this channel is to draw attention to the harm that the Mormon institution perpetuates continually, and some of that harm is perpetuated by Mormon individuals who are a part of that organization. So if you don't fit into that category of people being homophobic or misogynistic, then good for you.
It's all good.
Then this video shouldn't offend you. So in line with all of those things, there's a reason we talk about Mormon influencers, and it's not just to shit on them. The main reason that we talk about these things is because when you support Mormon influencers, and when you supporting means a lot of things, but supporting can mean as little as consuming their content, watching their videos, even if you're skipping their ads. Doesn't matter. While you were doing these things, all of that, they're receiving a chunk of money, man. They're Not Enough Nelsons pulls it in. Okay? They're raking in it. Okay? So that being said, remember, when you are Mormon, 10% of your income has to be donated to the Mormon church. So 10% of whatever the hell Tiffany's raking in is going to the Mormon church. Okay? So it's no mystery, if you've watched our channel, why Mormonism is problematic. Not the least of which is homophobia, transphobia, sexism, racism, the list goes on. We have 5 million videos. Go watch them. There's a million different reasons why the Mormon church is not an institution that you should support, especially if you consider yourself an ally of the LGBTQ plus community. The church lobbies politically for anti-LGBTQ laws. Okay. So this is why it's important that you not give them your social media currency, right? Don't watch their stuff. Don't follow them on Instagram. The amount of ads that Tiffany has on their Instagram, let me just read you a few of their sponsors. Okay. I wrote them down for you. These are big money sponsors. Amazon, Walmart, PlayStation, Febreze, Klondike, Nextdoor, Tula. They don't have small sponsorships, you guys. These are big money companies.
These come in, all metrics are taken into account when a brand is looking at sponsoring a influencer. So if you're adding to any of those metrics, you are essentially indirectly supporting the Mormon church.
You are, even if you're hate following.
Yeah.
Don't follow. Just favorite the page so you're not contributing. But that's the whole point here that we're trying to make is you, with these Mormon content creators, you cannot consume their content without supporting the Mormon church. It's impossible. You cannot do both. So if you're a Mormon loving person, nothing's going to stop you from watching their content. But if you're a person who, considers themselves an ally, isn't a total misogynist, you know.
Or just stands against anything that the Mormon church stands for.
Any
Just,
of those
it's
things.
things to be aware of.
Keeping
when you're
$100 billion
consuming.
in a bank account instead of solving world hunger. I don't know.
I know.
The church doesn't need your money. They don't need your money. They don't need Tiffany's money, even though she's breaking it in. They don't need it. They got $100 billion sitting in a bank account. They don't need their money. So don't contribute to their literal mass of wealth. Okay? That's our whole point here. Is you can't consume their content without supporting Mormonism.
So in short, we are anti-Mormonism. The problem with being anti-Mormonism is when you attack the core tenet of a large population's life, it comes off as a personal attack. So
Before they freak out, it's water. It's water.
everybody
Okay.
saw the Super Bowl. This is not news.
Just clarifying, because if you're Mormon and you're watching, now we've just put the nail in the coffin.
Nail in the coffin. That is a big deal. This channel is a double-edged sword because they're not a lot. I mean, outside of our normal things of you're exploiting your children for personal gain and you're telling stories that aren't yours to tell and you're using children as props in that. They're likable people. Like, you know, I'm not going to.
I'm sure they're very nice.
Video, we probably went a little too hard in a lot of aspects, but I am sure they're nice and everything. They have a gaggle of children. They just have a lot of kids. So
let's be clear, because our last Mormon influencer video, we talked about 8 passengers. Now, 8 passengers just straight up fucking down are shitty parents. No matter how you slice it.
Yeah.
No matter how you slice it. Okay. It's straight up. It's out there. Anytime 8 passengers controversy comes up, it's always because they're being abusive to their kids. End of story. And that's a widely held belief by a variety of people. That is not the case, at least to our knowledge, with this family. I don't think there is anything inherently abusive or god-awful or terrible that these parents are doing to their children, other than the things we don't agree with, such as exploiting your children on the internet and sharing inappropriate things.
And a couple other things that we'll hit on in this, but
for the most part, we're not going to come on here and say that these people are just god-awful and their children are terrible and they're all just horrible, horrible people. If that's what you walk away from this video thinking, that's on you, because that's definitely not the direction we're going. But there are parts of this family that deserve to be criticized and deserve to be called out, and just like we get called out all the time, and so that's what we're here to do.
Not even we are above criticism, and that brings us to our next point. Because of the nature of their channel, we wanted to talk about some positive adoption language, or language surrounding adoption. When we did our video on North and South, a lot of viewers raised to our attention that a lot of the words that a lot of people who have never been involved in adoption and things of that nature, we just fire off words and phrases that can come across as harmful. So we definitely have seen that, and we want to give some resources. We are not perfect by any means.
We've said these things in the past, and somebody brought this to our attention.
Relearning how we talk about adoption so that we can be more inclusive and be more aware of words and phrases that are unsavory and hurtful to people who were adopted. And
language is important.
Language is important. This one is from the Center for Family Services. A neat little table, just some quick things. I'll flash it up here on the screen that you can take a look at. And we will put the link down in the description down below on the YouTube channel. If you are, this is pretty easy stuff to find. There's a lot of other terms and phrases that we should be avoiding in order to be more inclusive and loving toward everybody around us. So we're going to do our best to use this language, and hopefully everybody will feel more welcome and loved on our channel. Part of the reason why I bring this up is because while not enough Nelsons are bringing more awareness to the adoption process and culture surrounding adoption, a lot of cases that I've seen, and we've watched a good amount of their videos in the preparing for this video, they don't use this kind of language. And I hope that they might see this and make a choice to use more inclusive language so that the people who are looking at adoption can also have more accurate and more positive language as they're going through this process themselves.
And it's important to note that we're not being like nitpicky. Like,
No.
this was brought to our attention by somebody who was adopted and was, you know, wanting to make us aware of how to be more inclusive around this language. So this isn't us being like, you guys don't even call your children the right, like, well, that's not what we're doing. We're bringing this to you guys' attention because it was news to us, and we're hoping it's something beneficial that can come out of this video for them, but Definitely. I know they don't really care, so.
Yeah, so some of this language I'm going to be reading off of their stuff. So just be aware of that. And in other situations, I might slip up or something like that. So we are learning ourselves. So please be gentle. Anyway, let's get on with it. Not Enough Nelsons. They started their channel in 2019. They've got 1.16 million subscribers as of right now. They have 250 million channel views, which is a mind-boggling amount of views, in all honesty. And in that small of a time, for a channel that only has 1 million subscribers and is not like a music channel or anything like that, is a lot of views and a lot of people that are seeing your kids. And a lot of people who now know your kids' stories, and by extension, biological family members' stories that maybe aren't yours to tell. So that's something that people need to be aware of. I don't like that aspect. And I understand that sometimes that is part of a person's story, but it's also a part of a child's story that they're not old enough to tell yet themselves. So,
or give consent to tell.
So just something that has really weighed heavy on me is just seeing how they take these stories and they will make a whole video out of it. And it's just the mom talking basically 90% of the time with their kid. And it feels like their kid is just a prop for the video, honestly. And that's just an opinion of mine. I think it's kind of gross. It looks like they're just trying to get views. But
clutches pearls. Because here's the thing with that is, while I get it comes from good intentions, right? They want to bring awareness and attention to the topic of adoption. Adoption channels on YouTube are wildly popular. Yeah. They're not the only ones doing this. This doesn't make them special. But I get the intent of these kids come from, you know, really tough backgrounds, and they've been through a lot, and they've experienced some trauma, and, you know, I don't think that's information that necessarily needs to be shared when they're not old enough to tell that story themselves. And by old enough, I mean they're of adult age, as like at least 18, and they're making a conscious choice to do that themselves and not having somebody else tell their story for them, or asking them nicely if they want to share it and agreeing because your mom wants you to share it. Okay? Yeah. Because you can tell me.
Because you love your mom, right?
Exactly.
And you want to make your mom happy, and she wants to do this, and it's part of, I mean, it's kind of like a group endeavor with all the kids and everything like that. But
just because you ask your kids when they're 10, 14, 7, whatever, whenever the hell you ask them, if they're comfortable sharing that story and they say yes, doesn't mean it's okay.
Doesn't mean they necessarily understand the repercussions or the consequences of sharing that story.
Children can't consent. And especially when you're putting out traumatic information on the internet, you can't take that back.
Yeah.
You can delete videos, but as we all know, videos are forever once you put them on the internet. So if that's something that these kids change their mind about later, it doesn't matter. It's too late.
Just a little, I kind of got ahead of ourselves on this one. Just a little tidbit from the channel description that they put out. We are Not Enough Nelsons family, the Not Enough Nelsons family. We are a big family of 18. We always get asked if they are all ours. Okay, I copied and pasted this, and this is the punctuation is kind of funny. Anyway, 7 are biological and 9 are adopted. This is copy and pasted from what they say. So yes, they are all ours. We sure love each of our 18 kiddos. So
16.
some of that, or 16 kiddos, sorry, 18 people in total. So some of that is a little, they go hard in like, this one's biological, this one's adopted. It just comes off a little odd. Anyway. So yeah, that's Not Enough Nelsons. They've got a bunch. I think they post 3 times a week.
It's a lot.
Anyway, the parents of the channel are who we're mainly going to be talking about. Tiffany Nelson. I mean, these are adult people. She's like in her 40s. Former Mrs. Utah. I was watching a video just to kind of gather some information and get a feel for what's going on. And she mentioned that she was Mrs. Utah. And I was like, whoa, okay, hold the phone. A lot of people had commented to us that they like are really particular about the women's images and everything like that. And I was like, whoa, that makes a lot of sense. And then we were looking into it and we were like, this woman is not on like any Wikipedia page or anything related to Miss Utah. And then I had an epiphany. I was like, oh, wait, her little banner says, or her little sash says Mrs. Utah. And sure as shit, Mrs. Utah is different from Miss Utah. I had no idea. It is
not part of like the big 4 pageants or whatever that everybody's familiar with. The distinction
is the married women of Utah. So
did not even know that was a thing.
Okay, that's news to me. So it was a little hard to find. Also, it was kind of funny because I found them both on Facebook. And I won't say who, but one of them has a mutual with us.
Awkward.
Kind of funny. Anyway, yeah. So that also kind of brings up the, I will call it 7 degrees of Mormonism, where basically the entire church with 7 degrees of people. Like, it's weird. Anyway, I will just touch on that briefly.
Okay, so our second homie that's a part of this is Bruce Nelson. I don't know how this happens. It literally makes no sense to me, but he goes by Benji. Benji, I don't know.
I was like, nobody mentioned it in... we have to shout out the r/ Not Enough Nelsons subreddit. Not Enough Nelsons Snark subreddit. Nobody mentioned why he goes by Benji, and I literally, after much digging, could not figure out. The best explanation I can think of is his initials are BENII.
Maybe that's it.
That's the best I could come up with. I just thought it was really weird. I don't know. Benji is...
Maybe it's like a family name or something.
Yeah.
I just thought it was weird.
Benji is, I just cannot understand
I can't put it together.
Why he goes by that. But anyway.
Secondhand information leads us to believe that he did serve a mission. We don't know for sure or where for sure, but speculative information points us that direction. And then we do interestingly have a Deseret News article that was sent to us about this family in particular, Benji in particular.
Just a little brief mention in there. This one comes from April 3rd, 2005, a hot minute ago. But just a quick rundown. They were talking about the construction of a temple in Draper, Utah, where at the time Benji Nelson was a landowner and developer, which notably is what he does for a living. Here it says Benji Nelson, a developer and landowner in the Canyon or Corner Canyon area, sold all of the lots in his Cove subdivision when word of a Draper temple was still a rumor last year. But with a temple guarantee announced in November, the half-acre lots he sold for $150,000 are quickly selling for more than $300,000. Once they announced it seemed like everybody wants to be there, Nelson said. One thing is the beauty of what the LDS Church creates and the spirit that is potentially around here. It's not something you get every day. Notably, that is not the general vibe that always everybody feels when a temple is moving into town. Nelson, who swapped a portion of his land with the LDS Church for a stake center near the temple site, said he had an inkling that the temple will find a home in Draper and that land values would jump like they did around the Jordan River Temple in South Jordan and around the Bountiful Temple. So he swapped land with the LDS Church so that they could do, and that wouldn't be a rare thing. A lot of people, they're like, oh my God, people will sell their 4-generation, everybody lived in this house.
Could get millions of dollars from the land.
For pennies on the dollar because, oh my God, this is where God wants the church or the temple to be. And it's such a blessing. Yeah, so he might have traded, I don't know what he traded, if it was a 1-to-1 trade on value or anything like that, but he was willing to do it with probably little to no convincing. It was just like, swap it out, whatever.
For a stake center. It's a church building. That's what it is.
It's just a big church.
It's not like a steak, eat your steak center. That's not.
That would be a lot better, honestly.
It's a chapel. It's a church building, and it's usually just larger than others.
Medium rare.
How much land does the church own? Just Google it real quick.
I don't even think they have it totaled up. The largest, I know for a fact off the top of my head, in Florida, the organization that owns the most land, it's a ranch, is the LDS Church, the Mormon Church. One of the biggest ranches in North America is owned by the Mormon Church.
This is a Bloomberg article. The Mormon Church reportedly owns over 1 million acres in continental America on which it runs farms, ranches, orchards, and hunting preserves. It also owns farmland in Australia, the UK, Brazil, Canada, Argentina, and Mexico.
I don't even think that's including the sites where temples and church buildings and everything like that are at.
Yeah, and the church is the largest landowner, like you said, in Florida.
In Florida, no other landowner has more land than the Mormon
That'll be
Church
a deep dive for another day.
Anyway.
Now y'all are intrigued.
So that's Benji. Notably, there was a something that I found that referred to him being a bishop around 2015. Allegedly, I'm not sure if that's true. Honestly, it is kind of par for the course. It's shitty that the Mormon Church will see that people have a lot of kids and there needs to be extra help in the house with a husband. And they're like, no, fuck that. This guy needs to be the bishop and he needs to ask underage kids about living the law of chastity and their sexual purity. So
it's not an extrapolation.
I'm going to go to the bat. I'm going to go to bat for Benji Nelson here and say it's fucked up that they called him to be the bishop, honestly.
Because the whole point here is that being a bishop, a lot of church leadership positions take a ton of your time. Being a bishop means you're in charge of your entire local congregation that attends your ward, right? And so that being said, you're responsible for a myriad of things. And so he's out of the house constantly. Like, so if he's working full time and then being a bishop, he's at church all day on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then he's doing interviews constantly. He's at the church most weeknights. This is based on family members that we've had who are also bishops. No matter how you slice it, it is a time-consuming
This
calling.
guy owns his own business, and this article or whatever I read was estimating 20 hours a week of service given to the church.
That's probably an underestimate.
That is probably a really conservative estimate, if you ask me. My dad, not while I was a kid, but after I left on my mission, was a bishop, and he was at the church constantly. So
I'll be home at 7. I'll be home at 7.
Yeah. I'll be home at 7. Yeah, seriously. If
walks in the door at 8:30.
Ever got home on time, it was a goddamn miracle. So sorry to the whole family. I will be honest. Sorry to that whole family that they're.
That's tough.
He felt it's an obligation, honestly.
You are told you're called by the Lord.
Yeah, you are recommended. This is getting really off topic, but you're recommended by the stake president to the head honcho, the top of the church, the prophet, the president of the church.
That speaks to Jesus himself.
And he signs off on the recommendation. Obviously, there's probably a lot of considerations like your yearly contributions and things like that. But it's supposed to be a call from God. God wants you to be the bishop, not to the Mormon church.
How do you say no to
bullshit.
that? When God comes to you and is like, I want you to be the bishop. And this is why Mormons rarely say no to callings.
Oh, especially if you're recommended to be the bishop.
I said no to one calling in my entire Mormon life, and I felt so guilty about it.
Yeah, it's almost, I don't know. Anyway, that's where I'll end that bit. So those are the parents. They have some adult children, and one of them we will refer to, but we're not going to go through their kids and
I don't
everything
really
like
care.
that, honestly. Notably, if you are curious, they have like a scheme of naming in a lot of their kids where they have like the first syllable, and then after the first syllable, the first letter of the next syllable is capitalized.
So there's capital letters in the middle of the name in really
name.
weird places.
Yep.
It's lots of Lees. Like they're all basically Lees.
Yeah, lots of double E's.
Like when you see
And a lot
people
of
make fun of Mormon names,
Yeah.
this is why.
And this is coming from somebody who is a capital K in the middle of their name, so I can talk shit all I want. So that's kind of, and it's like a super Mormon Utah thing of just these odd names where they're gonna, if they ever go to Starbucks, they're gonna get misspelled, and I think you're doing
People are going to look at you weird.
I think you're doing your child a disservice by
Kids
doing
might
that.
make fun of you.
Anyway, okay, this is not the first time that we have spoken about Not Enough Nelsons, and we've referred to an incident in the past about our video that we did with them pushing like this toxic, extra terrible version of purity culture. When we did this video, I'll link it again. I don't care.
Let's give context for that, though.
Okay. Give them a little rundown real quick.
The gist of this, and they do this with all of their girls. My brain just like exploded for a second. They do this with all their girls. They at some point decide to have the talk, right, with them, the sex talk, which I will give
birds
them.
and the bees.
I'll give them props for that at least, because a lot of Mormons don't give the sex talk, and it's just it's a problem for another day. But they do give this sex talk. But here's the gist of it: is they take them to a public restaurant and talk to them about it in a public restaurant. They also record it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, also it's a vlog,
and they post it on the internet while they're talking about, they're talking about these things, and it's awkward. And the people in the restaurant are like, first of all, you have a camera, so that's already awkward. And then you're talking about these things if you like overhear at a different table, and they make it like so painfully awkward. Like the secondhand embarrassment I have from watching that video that we reacted to, it was palpable. I could barely contain it. So essentially they do this with all of their girls, and it ends with their father giving them a purity ring or a chastity ring or whatever.
Not just gives, hold on.
Oh yeah, I guess.
He gets down on his knee and like proposes to his daughter.
And essentially it's so that
In
ring.
a public place.
It's
grossly inappropriate.
It's grossly inappropriate the way that they handle it. If you want to save yourself till marriage, that is absolutely your prerogative, and there is nothing wrong with it. And if that's what makes sense to you and that's what speaks to you, then I highly encourage it. But let's not make it weird. Okay?
Let's not have parents dictate the purity of their children in this manner. And that's just secondhand from the precepts that the church is teaching. So
Mormonism, like the institution, the members are steeped in purity culture, and losing your virginity, which is a construct, but a topic for another day. Keeping your chastity, that's a question asked by the bishop. You have to maintain that or you get in trouble. You have to repent. It's a whole thing. And so the whole idea of the dad proposing to the child, which sounds gross, is he gives her the ring and she wears it until he hands her off to her husband, who will then replace that ring with their engagement ring. So something that we will continually come back to in this video is, as with many other families, religious families, evangelical Baptist families across, even not religious families, the Nelsons push heteronormative standards on their children extremely, extremely hard.
So.
And that's something we're all working on, that we do too. It's a part of culture, and it's, you know, it takes time to break down those things and do things differently, and it's about being mindful, but they do it very intentionally. Okay, it's a nice surface level. It's tying a bow and putting a little tissue paper on homophobia. Okay.
Yes, I think that's a perfect way to describe that.
If you dig a little deeper,
yeah,
it's not gonna be pretty underneath.
So we did a reaction video to that, and I will admit we went pretty hard, honestly. And in response to that, we got a email from YouTube. So the funny thing about when you make a copyright takedown request to YouTube is they'll forward the request along to the person who is on the receiving end of that takedown request. So we got a cute little email, and you know, I would probably feel bad, but the way they went about this is kind of awkward. Jordan, why don't you read this email, and people can make sense of it as they please.
Okay, one thing I want to add before we did this, for this video in particular, they were giving the sex talk to an older child, but this child was still under the age of 18, obviously. It was not feasible for us to be able to react to this video and blur that minor child's face for the entire time. Now, that was something that we could not do at the time technologically, and that might have been something that we would probably do different going around. But the same point still stands, that just because you can see what this child looks like on our channel doesn't mean you can't run to Tiffany's channel and see the exact same child in the exact same video. Nonetheless, here's what Tiffany said. On both of these videos, which she reported to YouTube, I and my minor children appear in talking about sensitive subjects, and I have edited the videos as to not make my minor children embarrassed. However, in these videos, in the videos I have submitted copyright claims for, the channel owners are commenting mean and hurtful things about me and my children in the entire video. I have so far been able to not let my children see these hurtful videos, but my child was shown these videos last week by someone at school. Our entire video is on screen the entire time during these videos. My minor children are talked about in derogatory ways, as is their parents. We did not talk derogatory about a child.
We would never do that.
I do not give permission to these channels to have my entire video with my minor children displayed for their bullying and making fun of our special moments, talking about delicate things such as this. It is causing my child very much distress, and this bullying should not be allowed. If they cannot be taken down by copyright issues, I am wondering if you can further direct me as to how I can get my entire videos with my minor children being made fun of taken down. Is it okay that they show the entire video with me and my other children on their channel? Is there no copyright laws being violated in that? I look forward to your help. Thank you, Tiffany.
So, I mean, we are reasonable people. If she came directly to us, maybe
we would have taken it down.
Maybe we would have been moved, and maybe there could have been a conversation. But she went directly to YouTube with some claims that are unverifiable of bullying from her children. I mean, this is like a couple, like maybe 20,000 subscribers ago. Honestly, do you think our 15 or 10,000 subscribers at the time were really reaching to kids that were in the same school? I highly doubt that.
And here's my thing, okay? She's embarrassed that we reacted to this content because they're talking about delicate and sensitive things. Here's the deal, Tiffany. Don't put you talking with your children in public, recording it, talking about sensitive and delicate things, and then place it on the internet. Because then we wouldn't react to it. But guess what? Your kids' friends could just as easily pull up your video and be like, here's your mom talking to you about sex.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like that would have been equally as bad.
Miss me with that shit, Tiffany. This is a joke.
In my opinion.
You cannot come for us and be like, I cannot believe the bullying when if my mom, which my mom's a piece of work, but if my mom were to do this and post it on the internet and my friends found out about it in exactly this context with no reaction from another content creator, I would be mortified. Absolutely mortified. This is not appropriate behavior. You do not talk about explicit. That's what it is. We're talking about explicit things that you would not talk about.
And to her credit, there was a lot of stuff that she edited out in a comical manner, I will add.
Yeah.
But
you're still videotaping the entire conversation.
Setting, like this, as if this were a joke, you set up the whole punchline, like the whole joke, you set it up and somebody just had to come in and make the punchline.
Exactly. Like, that's it.
Come on.
That's it. You set this up. And if you don't want this information out on the internet, you don't put it out there. That's easily what it comes down to.
I would be mortified if somebody did that to my child. But guess what? You've never seen our child. You don't know anything about our child. So
because he's blurred in any picture that we post, we never talk about him. Our subscribers don't even know what his name is or how old he is. And we don't talk about those things.
Yeah, I don't think most people do. But
they don't even know what his name is. So that's the difference here is we wouldn't do that. I'm going to venture, and we'll see if the comments confirms it, but I'm going to venture that most parents would not do this either. I do not shame you for having this conversation in this manner or even presenting it to your child in this way. How you want to have this conversation with your child is your prerogative, and that's up to you. Whether that's based in faith, whether it's secular, doesn't matter. That's up to you. But it becomes everybody else's business when you post it on the internet. If you just kept this shit to yourself or maybe shared it with your church friends, nobody's going to bat an eye. Maybe there'll be some Mormons that would be like, what the hell?
It is a little odd.
It's a little odd. But if you weren't posting it on the internet, who cares? This is how you do things. If it makes sense to you, stand by it. But don't put it on the internet. I would be mortified. I remember my mom giving me the sex talk, and I was ready to descend into the core of the earth when that was happening, okay? And so to imagine, and this was done in my home at our kitchen table. So to be having this talk in public while my mother records me while she's telling me this information that I'm hearing for the first time.
And everybody's seeing my dad get down on his knees and propose as if, what? That is...
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
So that was an interesting... We just wanted to share that... kind of an interesting situation.
I will say if they approached us about it directly, I would have been open to having a conversation about it. And if it was a productive conversation, I would have been open to taking it down. However, when you go about it in a roundabout way and just try to get our shit taken down because you don't understand copyright law,
YouTube,
that's different. Because at the end of the day, there was a variety of people that agreed on that video that there's something wrong with it. And when you put shit out on the internet, you're going to get criticized for it.
Yeah.
There's a million people who are going to disagree with what we say. So
I am perfectly open to criticism. If you
happens all the time.
If you think I look like a girl with my hair, fine. I don't care.
If you think we're core whores going to hell, that's fine.
Yeah. So there was that one. That is just kind of rehashing something that's already happened.
But mind you, there was no copyright violations in that video. It was more than half commentary. Way more than half
commentary. We
paused like every 30 seconds over that video.
So it was good to do. It's still up. I didn't have to alter it or anything. YouTube did not take any action, and there was no action that they could take against us unless they were to maybe hire an attorney. But that never happened. So moving on from there, that was kind of a really long detour there, but it was pertinent to the conversation. A lot of people also comment on the extravagant wealth that these people have. I mean, love him or hate him, Benji is a capitalist. He makes money big time. So
does Tiffany.
I
argue Tiffany probably pulls in more than he does.
I don't know. Either way, they're pulling a decent chunk of change. A lot of people in the r/not enough Nelsons Snark bring up one of their daughters, and this is one of the ones that I'll mention because she is an adult and she has her own platform. Cassidy has her own TikTok page that she has over 1 million followers on. And I'll just like flash a couple of these. I can't put the sound on, but they are
chuggy.
Yeah, they're kind of just showing off their extravagant wealth in a tasteless manner, if I would be so inclined to say.
She's cute. She's adorable.
Yeah.
She fits in, she's trendy. It makes sense to me why she's so popular on TikTok. She's gorgeous. I get it. But when your when your whole like TikTok fame is based in you outside of your parents' mansion, I mean, it makes sense why it draws people in, right?
Riding the coattails of the YouTube channel that your family has is just...
Which I think she did actually create. So there is she started the channel.
Yeah.
So there is that. Tiffany has her to thank for, I think she still edits videos.
Or she did the editing and does all this stuff. If I could offer a criticism, the way that they title their videos, oh my God, it makes me want to it gives me a stroke when I look at them. Oh my God. The capitalization and the lack of the I's being sometimes, but a lot of times lowercase. Just
not capitalized, like
in the middle of words.
In the middle of words.
When the whole word is capitalized. So I don't know. Anyway.
It's just weird.
But yeah, she's flaunting their extravagant wealth, what I would consider extravagant wealth.
See that house?
Yeah. In southern Utah. And it's the hard thing about it is Mormonism doesn't necessarily discourage this, even though the Bible says, you know, X, Y, or Z thing about greed and money being the root of all evil. I don't know. What the Book of Mormon has to say about riches is what they, or how Joseph Smith puts it, is this. And this is located in Jacob 2, verses 18 and 19. If you were so inclined to look it up, I think it was a scripture mastery scripture when I was in high school. But before ye seek riches, seek ye for the kingdom of God. And in verse 19, it continues, and after ye have obtained a hope in Christ, ye shall obtain riches if ye seek them, and ye will seek them for the intent to do good, to clothe the naked, and to feed the hungry, and to liberate the captive, and administer relief to the sick and the afflicted. I mean, maybe they're doing that. It seems like they could be doing that a whole lot more.
There's no way to know.
There's no way to know. But this is kind of the Mormon version of the prosperity gospel, where if you are righteous and you seek God first, then you will prosper. And the minds of a lot of Mormons that I have met, that is a good thing. I had a Sunday school teacher who was like, you need to be rich, because when you're rich, you have the biggest TV. And when you have the biggest TV, all the kids on the street want to come to your house to hang out. And it's good that they hang out at the Mormon people's house so that you can be a missionary without even saying anything.
Ooh.
So this is the kind of ideas. And I won't say that every single Mormon thinks this way. That's
but this does
just
support
the kind of rhetoric that, I mean, it's supported by scripture, essentially.
Well, and it supports one of the most often things that we get asked is, why are so many Mormons wealthy?
Rich, man?
There's so many rich Mormons. And there's a ton. You also, I mean, bear in mind that the church is predominantly Mormon white men. And so we know what white men wage gap versus women versus men of color versus women of color versus XYZ. And so there's a little bit of a systemic issue to blame there as well. But there is a lot of rich Mormons. It's true. You head up to a lot of the apostles, like the big wigs, like the big wigs who speak to Joseph Smith and via, I was going to say telehealth. I've been at work all day. So the big wigs, right, they get the $100,000 of stipends and live in the big houses on the hill. They live extravagantly.
Yeah.
When you run in Utah circles, a lot of them live in a city called Bountiful. And if you're up there walking your dog, there's a chance you're going to run into one of them.
North Salt Lake, I guess, technically. Some of them. I mean, we have seen in places that we go, we have seen people like apostles walking around and things like that.
And then you're like astounded that it's
like, oh my God.
Weird Mormon things. Anywho.
So, yeah, this kind of prosperity principle is kind of on full display. In this manner, I'm sure a lot of Mormons would be like, oh, well, that's just gaudy and awful all around. But this is a way to be like, hey, I'm Mormon, and look at all this money that we have, and we are so blessed, and, you know, a lot of things of that nature. So something that's just a little interesting in Mormon culture.
I can hear the Mormons going, you're just jealous.
You're
'cause
just
they have
jealous.
so much money. Yeah, I'm in grad school. We're poor. Would I love to live in a mansion?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Do I need it to be that fucking big? No, I don't think so.
We have one kid. It doesn't matter.
Even if I had freaking, 15, 14, whatever the hell, 16 kids, I don't think I would need a house that big. I'm sorry.
Well, I think some of them are even still sharing rooms.
There is.
Even in
That
a
was something a
giant-ass
Redditor brought
house.
up. Yeah.
So,
And some of them don't even live there. The older ones don't even live there anymore.
yeah. So,
It's,
interesting.
they're like Jordan Page 2.0. I don't know if that's an insult or
For
a
real.
compliment. To me, it's an insult. But okay, so as mentioned before, we have the biggest of shout outs to the r/not enough Nelsons Snark on Reddit, because they have put together so many things. And I will link some of these things if you would like to investigate them yourself. I will put some links in the description. One of the things that we got taught, like we got sent the most, was this video. I believe this is from their oldest daughter's channel. And it was a Q&A, like with the oldest daughter and the younger sisters. And it was just a casual, like,
It's in the car, so the audio situation, I apologize.
it's not ideal. But they're in the car, they're talking, and they answer a question, and one of the children responds with some information that we thought was a little bit alarming.
Oh wait, who gets in trouble the most?
Oh,
Sadie.
you get in trouble the most. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not home right now.
First of all, I'm the me. I never get in
You and
trouble.
Luke always get in fights and Mom yells at you guys because you guys get in trouble.
Okay, but at least I don't get in trouble for saying inappropriate things, aka maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
At least I don't get spankings like I'm 3 years old.
Maybe it's spanking?
Yeah,
I'm not in this anymore.
Yesterday she got 4 spankings.
All right, this is causing too much drama. We gotta skip this question.
Okay, so again, and this is, we're not talking about Garmies getting in a wad here. We're talking about everybody working themselves up into a freaking tizzy over here, okay? As soon as things such as spanking comes up, then everybody loses their minds, okay? So here's what's not going to happen. We're not going to have a discussion on whether we think spanking is or isn't appropriate. Our parenting is different than your parenting. Their parenting is different than ours. It's not about which is best, better, whatever. That's not the point we're trying to make here. I don't care about your stance on spanking. We personally don't do it. I don't care what you do.
I will say this: there is no evidence that supports that spanking is effective.
Correct.
So,
That's just our stance on it. We're not going to say, we were also both spanked and we turned out fine. Okay, so
I did not turn out fine. Just look at me. Come on.
neither of us turned out fine.
Just kidding.
So beyond the point, but the thing that is kind of bizarre to me, and I mean, you guys can maybe drop this in the comments if I'm just like misguided in this department, but I feel like, however, what is she, like 12, 14?
She's at least 12 in this video.
In this video, I feel like that's a little old to be spanking a child. And maybe, maybe I'm out of my league on this, and maybe this is just a common thing and I'm
they
not
said
aware of it.
4 times in a day?
4 times in a day is a lot. And for saying inappropriate things, my mom would just like take my phone away.
Yeah. If the first time didn't work, I mean, take a hint. Maybe
I'd
that's
get
not
grounded.
the route to go.
And again, we're not here to get into parenting things, but it is bizarre to me that you're spanking an older child. Like,
Yeah.
it gives me some ick vibes, okay? It makes me icky. So I'm not personally a fan of that. I'm shocked that the oldest daughter that they have included this in the video.
I would not have.
I would not have. There was some things I think right after this that she edited out, so I'm really kind of shocked that she left this piece in there, especially because, I mean, it stands out like a sore thumb. Like,
Yeah.
weird.
It's a little odd.
Weird behavior. So that rubs me the wrong way. I'm not a fan of that. I do not, like I said, research doesn't support that spanking works and is effective in any way at decreasing children misbehaving. So But that's neither here nor there. Just a point that we thought was interesting. Thank you to the Snark community for bringing this to our attention. We felt it was worth noting.
Yep. Okay, do you want to do some rapid fire stuff?
Yes.
We're sitting at about an hour recorded, probably 55 minutes.
Okay. So we still got
Edited
time.
down. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's not go too long, though. I think right about an hour is good.
That's fine. Let's do some fun stuff. So we posted in the Not Enough Nelsons Snark subreddit. I hope we have shouted you guys out enough. And we asked for your highlights from Not Enough Nelsons. These are not our words, okay? These are directly off a Reddit post where other people in the Snark community commented their opinions on these people. This is not fact. This is not proven. This is observable, potentially, and opinion. And it's not ours. We're just sharing it with you. Let's make that very clear, okay? Okay, so some fun ones. Materialism. I've never seen a family that's more obsessed about stuff.
Just go into their channel and you will see there's so many videos about stuff. Their most recent Friday one was about stuff.
Yeah.
So
thank you, JEG file for that. They also mentioned makeup on young girls. Nobody under the age of 14 needs full face makeup on their faces. That's for you to decide, right? Yeah. My mom did not let me wear makeup until I was in middle school.
Yep. That's where I thought the pageant life probably played a big role in that. So.
It's also a very Mormon thing, though, is to be very image focused. And so Tiffany always has to have her hair done. She has to have her best foot forward. She has to look very put together. That's also a very Mormon.
Dang, you're telling on yourself right now.
I was Mormon for a long time, okay?
You have to.
It's a part of it.
Shake it off.
It's very image focused. You have to have it all together. The woman takes care of everything. She takes care of those 16 kids. Everybody's got their shit together. And she looks great doing it. Okay. So something that got brought up a lot on this post in a variety of ways. This is from puzzleheaded_B_765. This person said there is definitely favoritism with adopted and bio kids. They treat kids who are the same age differently based on if they're adopted or biological. One of the kids was given AirPods and makeup and fancy boots for Christmas, and the other one was given some toys and clothes. The other one was given AirPods too, as well as a ton of makeup and clothes, and the child that was adopted was given bouncy balls for Christmas. They're both 8. So it seems in their Christmas hauls, from what I'm gathering from these comments, is it's not really hard to see that the kids are being given different things, even though they're the same age.
I think we brought that up in the North and South video, and a lot of people were quick to be like, "Oh, well, that's not true" or whatever. But I mean, these people on the Snark sub are pretty keyed into what's going on. So if that isn't true, their videos do not reflect that necessarily.
Another point that was brought up by the same user, they obviously exploit their kids' emergency room videos, medical stuff, periods, when they're upset, their fights, you name it, it's on the internet.
Yeah, that's another thing that I'm surprised I didn't bring it up earlier, but
emergency room visits,
medical trauma and things like that is just not.
Who does that? Who does that?
Yeah.
Like, your kid falls down the stairs and you're going to like, where's the camera?
Yeah.
Got to get the camera. Like, why?
One of the ones that I just off the top of my head remember seeing was one, I didn't watch the video, but I remember seeing it was about a car accident, and one of the kids is like, has a neck brace on and blood on their face, and the other half of the frame is their totally destroyed car. Like, that shit got 4.5 million to the date views.
Why?
Like, it's pretty obvious that people you just on the highway, people are rubbernecking to see accidents and things like that. It's just capitalizing off of. Well, and here's my thing. Kids' trauma.
Is Mormons especially are going to come on here because Mormons are big about family history and record keeping and journaling and blah, blah, blah. And so their argument is going to be, well, they're documenting all these things.
Neo-genealogy.
It's genealogy that we're writing. Then don't post it on the internet.
You can do that. Yeah, just keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself. Save it on your computer.
A little video bank, and then your kids can upload it to some, like, I don't know, ancestry.com or whatever, but
Don't post it on the internet.
you don't need to. Oh, wait, but then you can't make money off of it, Jordan. Come on.
So this was brought up quite a bit too. Username Daydreaming Away 2. Apparently, Cass insists that she's the second oldest when she's actually the fourth.
That's the one that we referenced with the TikTok.
With the TikToks. And so I guess she gets like pressed for the order when she's the second oldest, even though she has siblings who were adopted that are older than her. So that puts her fourth in the lineup, but she's obsessed with being the second. I think someone mentioned that she recently talked about this and like admitted to the fact that she didn't like it, or allegedly or something. I don't know, but I thought that was funny. The one other thing that I wanted to bring up, username enough-teach-5576, again, out of the same subreddit. We don't like to talk about names. Obviously, if you go to their channel, you can figure it out. This family only has one child who isn't white. So we can conceal it as much as possible for identity's sake, but
Yeah.
it's not possible given the information they put out. But this commenter said everyone is obsessed with this child. There have been a couple videos that I remember where they call her exotic.
Not great. Can't believe we'd be using that word still in the 21st century.
Stop.
Okie dokie.
Just gross.
Yeah.
Really gross.
There's that child particularly. There's other really personal details about that child's birth and everything that Tiffany shares, and I really think it was not the right call to share those kinds of things. So, yeah, I think she gets it kind of the worst. Anyway, that kind of sums it up. Jesus Christ.
Obviously, we could go on forever.
We could go on. There was so much more. People, they responded so well on the r/not enough Nelsons Snark sub. So thank you everyone who contributed. Even if we didn't feature your comment, it was good
Very
to
helpful.
point us in the right directions on a lot of things.
We will link that sub in the description. Go join if you haven't already. There is not a insane amount of people in there, which is kind of surprising. So it would be nice to get some new faces over there.
Yeah, so go check it out if you have been following along with that family, and
Or if you're a snarker.
or whatever. Yeah, it might be something that's entertaining or informational for you. If you've made it this far, I always end with that. Thanks for hanging out. If you haven't subscribed already and this is something that you like, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button. It helps us out a bunch. Like I said, that's supporting us. So thank you very much.
We do not give our money to the Mormon church. So when you support us, you can be
Yes.
assured that our money does not go to that institution.
That money goes to things like this new audio setup, so you can see our beautiful faces and our ugly ass mouths. So if you like to read lips, or that is something that is helpful to you, hopefully this is better now. Sorry if the audio quality is lacking because I didn't have enough time to play with stuff, but yeah, so awesome things like that. If you would like to support us on Patreon, there are some great perks, especially in this next week. Next week's video it was chosen by our patrons, and we're going to do that. If you would like to know which the one that is, you can jump on Patreon right now, and you could probably still vote, although it's already been decided, so sorry about that. We will also have our first patron exclusive reaction video that we talked about last week, available next Friday. So if you would like to participate in anything on the Patreon or anything like that,
accessing exclusive content as we build our video vault of exclusive content for you.
Yeah, our bloopers and things like that. I save those things. I mean, I include a lot of silly stuff in our regular
horrifying.
videos, but I do like to maintain some semblance of self-respect and dignity where I can. So if that's something that you'd be interested in checking out, go over and check it out. We got 3 different tiers. So
You can support
Shout
us
out.
in whatever amount you choose, but there's 3 tiers to make it easier for you.
shout out to all our patrons. They're amazing. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can follow us on our socials at Jordan and McKay on TikTok and Instagram. You can also get in contact with us on our Discord. The link to that is in the description on YouTube. If you are...
We're updating our Discord.
We're updating...
We are Discord illiterate.
Things.
So please be patient with us because we have no idea what we're doing and we're still figuring it out. However, we did just add a Love is Blind server chat, whatever the hell it's called.
Oh, God.
Don't know what that means, but it's a little chat where we talk about Love is Blind. So if you're into that kind of stuff, come hop on over.
Hop on over. Yeah, so if you are just listening, come over to YouTube and you can find the Discord invite. For those of you who have stuck around, thank you very much. You're amazing, and we will see you next time.
Oh! What the heck?
What the heck? Did you just do that for?
On accident!